Hi, everyone. Welcome back to the podcast. If you're a new listener, welcome. If you're a veteran, welcome back. Today's episode is about why dogs pull and how to stop it.
Yeah.
Or I think that's a good...
Yeah, we'll gotta figure out the name for the video, which will fit on the screen.
Yes.
But yeah, that's basically what it is.
Try not to do clickbait.
Yeah, there is a dog trainer, you may have heard of him, is Cesar Milan. He gets a lot of crap from people. He's a good dog trainer. He's a good guy, charismatic. He started like a little farm boy in Mexico. He made a really good biography movie about him.
I watched it. It was good. Yeah.
He's a good guy. He's a true dog man.
Yeah.
Like he lived in LA under the bridges and highways, freeway bridges. And I live up in Wyoming and 40 below zero in the mountains because of dogs, I see a lot of parallel. Of course, he's much more charismatic than I am and much more polite. And he has this nice smile.
You smile.
Yeah, I smile. This is a smile right
smile.
now.
That's
smiling.
Hans' happy face.
Yeah, remember, this is how I smile.
When you see that face, he's happy.
This is smile. I'm happy now.
Yes.
How Clint Eastwood?
Clint Eastwood. How he pulls it.
A mustache covering. There's like one side growling, sneering through the one corner of his mouth.
It's kind of like a signature.
What are we going to talk about?
Why dogs
and
how to cure it.
Oh, yeah. Well, you know what? This is actually one of the... There's two big questions. What to do when my dog is overly aggressive? Mm-hmm. Actually, it's overly protective. And what to do when the dog is pulling, right?
Yeah.
And they're basically caused by the same thing. And that is that you are not in a leadership position. Mm-hmm. Like when you train dogs, you have two systems, in drive, out of drive. People say, I never heard of it. Well, you never heard of it because I named it that.
Yeah.
But
once you explain it.
Well, in drive is a dog who works in a prey drive or food drive if you're giving him cookie or if you have a ball.
Yeah.
So it's a prey drive or food drive. Like I want to eat that cookie which you have.
Yeah.
And there was this video I put on Facebook of this guy jogging in the rain. Did you see that?
So that he falls.
And he falls down and he has
the ball.
And the dog is jogging right next to him looking up and he has a ball in here.
Yeah.
On Velcro or in his pocket or in his armpit or somewhere right here. He has a ball. And when he falls, the dog comes and grabs the ball and runs away.
That's all he cares about is the ball.
That's in drive.
Yeah.
Right? The dog doesn't give a damn about you. He cares about the ball.
Yeah.
Right?
He'll do anything for the ball.
As long as he gets the ball. As long as you have the ball.
Yeah.
Or the cookie. Same stuff, right?
Cookies. I like cookies.
Yeah, I like instant pudding.
Yeah. What's wrong with
So that's in drive. Yeah. That's in drive. That's where it's come from. Drive, prey drive, or food drive. And then you have out of drive, which means there is no cookie or toy.
Because you're mean.
Yeah, it's very self-explanatory.
Yes.
Once you know what's in drive is you know what's out of drive. You just take the cookie away.
Light and dark, right?
Yeah.
Darkness and light.
Yeah.
Kind of thing.
But what the out of drive training does, and that's what I teach. That's what the video I'm selling is for.
Mm-hmm. No nonsense obedience.
Yeah, the no nonsense obedience on Alpine Canine Real. REAL.com is it teaches you out of drive obedience, meaning there's no cookie, as I said, or toy, no food drive or prey drive, so it's out of drive.
Yeah.
And but it enables you to teach the dog the relationship they should have with you. But what's the relationship between you and the dog? Mainly you are leader and they are not leader, they are the follower. Because dog has to have a leader or he will turn into one. There's no
Yeah.
third option. It's not like with cat. You can have I always say you can have a parallel existence with the cat.
Yeah.
There's nobody leader, right? Nobody's leader. The cat does their stuff and you do your stuff, and that's why it's pretty hard to train cat. It's possible.
Yeah.
With cookies.
With cookies. Anything is possible with cookies.
Yeah, man, I get always these allergies here.
Yeah.
It's just hitting me right now.
Actually, people that if you guys hear the term cookies, like there's a good chance they're watching the podcast, which is okay. That's good. That's a good thing.
Yeah. I mean, if some other trainers talk about cookies, it's probably so with the out of drive training, you are establishing leadership position, communication of positive and negative, like don't do this, do that. And if you do that, you get positive praise. And if you do that, you get correction, negative correction. And it doesn't feel good, right?
Yeah.
And we should do podcast on the Skinner, the four positive reinforcement, negative reinforcement, positive punishment, negative punishment.
Just a separate one. Yeah, talk about it.
Because people think the negative in that means that it doesn't feel good. That's nothing to do with it. You're taking something away.
Yeah.
And positive, you're putting something in.
Yeah.
Right? But so I'm using it a little different now. You know, if I'm correcting dog, it's negative, meaning not in the Skinner ways.
Cool. Yeah.
Okay. And so when I'm training dog with out of drive, I'm establishing, as I said, leadership position, communication of positive and negative, so the dog listens to me in any situation. Number one, because he has to. Number two, because he likes to. Why does he like to? Because I reward him with pet, good boy.
Yeah.
Right? I say good boy, pet, right?
Yeah.
Right? That way, when I say good boy, I tie it with a pet, and pet causes the dog to secrete oxytocin, which is a bonding hormone.
Yeah.
And when I say good boy and don't pet him because he's 50 yards away from me, he still will secrete the oxytocin if he's conditioned.
Yeah.
In other words, he went through a lot of repetitions with the dog.
Yeah.
That's we should, another podcast, do difference between Pavlov approach of training and Skinner. Mm-hmm. It's two different
Skinner
approaches.
versus...
Yeah.
Basically
saying, and they're both good, but they just have a different perspective.
Mm-hmm.
And so going back to, why dog pull, right? Why dogs pull, and that is the dog pulls because they don't give a damn about you, because they don't respect you as a leader, and because you, as a leader, don't train them not to pull. See, when I train the dog and he does something my way, the out of drive, and I tell the dog he does something wrong, not to do that, he stops doing because I said so.
Yeah.
Not because I have a cookie.
Yeah.
Right? Because if it would be because I have a cookie, that's the Zach George, that's stuff through food.
Yeah.
If I don't have, and you can condition it so that dog will do it. Even if you don't have cookie, if you condition him with the cookie, you went through many repetitions, come and you get cookie, come, you get cookie, come, you get cookie, come, you get cookie. And then you don't have cookie, you say, come, dog still comes. Mm-hmm. But the problem with that, there is a thing which is called extinction, meaning the extinction of the conditioning, and meaning if you call the dog to come and don't give him cookie, well, he'll do it. But if you keep doing it, eventually he says, "To hell with it! I'm not getting no cookie, so I'm not coming."
And there, I hear this. Well, I go, well, we phase it out. That's what they say with the cookies. Well, I'm like,
if you're phasing it out, why do you even do it then in the first place?
If it's so good, why are you phasing it out?
Yeah, and they said, well, I gotta communicate to the dog, but there's other ways to communicate, right? Mm-hmm. And so when I'm establishing, don't worry, I'll come to the pulling on the leash and aggression. I'll come to it.
And don't forward, no forwarding. We saw whoever forwarded.
Yeah.
We have special tracking
Bad.
Hans will personally show up.
Negative.
Hans will personally show up. At
This
the
is
door.
positive punishment, guys.
Yes.
I'm adding punishment. So
Yes,
positive.
Positive. Adding.
Bad.
No forward.
Yeah. So anyway, so when you do cookies, it works for a while, but remember the dog is doing it for the cookie, So and you competing with the dog. When I chase a cat or your cookie, what do you think the dog is going to go for?
Yeah.
The cookie or the chasing of the cat, right? Now you can condition the dog hard enough that it will override that cat, but it that takes a lot of doing, and it's not very reliable.
Yeah.
Because that cat trips chasing reflex, which is inherited, and it's there for millions of years. And your cookie conditioning is peanuts compared to the dog's survival to chase things which are moving, right?
Yeah.
So it's very hard to stop them with cookie training.
Yeah.
Okay.
And even without a drive, it's nothing is 100%, but you have a much better
Right. Well, you can yell a little harder and they'll go, oh, okay.
Yeah.
Because when you're teaching the dog, it's out of drive, dog is working for you and with you.
Yeah.
You're on the same page, right?
Yeah.
So if I tell him don't do it, he understands that he shouldn't do it.
Yeah.
He's not doing it because if he stops, he gets cookie.
Yeah.
He's stopping because I said so, and so he knows, okay, I'm not supposed to do it, right?
Yeah.
Like, I know my dog, I remember this one dog wanted to start chewing on the couch, right?
Uh-huh.
And I said, don't do it. And he kind of looked at me and okay, and walk away, right?
Because you
He understands, right? He understands. We have this, they're not stupid, we have this communication going on. But that's achieved through the out-of-drive obedience, okay? And so now when I walk with the dog and he's pulling, or he decides to pull because something is in front which interests him more than me, he forgets that I'm in leadership position.
Yeah.
And I will say no and give him a little correction. And he said, oh, okay. And he goes back. Why? Because I said so.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Right? And that is taught by either choker, collar, pinch collar work, and people, oh, that's horrible. All right, well, go train cookies, man. I don't care.
Yeah.
Right? Just
Do
whatever, dude.
Dude.
So I give the dog correct. I say no and correct. No is growling.
Yeah.
Right?
Deep voice.
Deep voice. No. I'm growling just like dog. That's what makes it natural.
Yeah.
And I correct him, which simulates the dominance dog bite on the back of the neck.
Yeah, look.
The pinch collar and or the choker simulates I bite you.
Yeah.
Like you saw that video with those Anatolian shepherds the other day. And so I have understanding as the dog stops pulling. And then he comes back into heel position. He looks at me. And he says, did I do good, Dad? And I say, good boy. But he looks at me. And I pet him.
Yeah.
And again, secretes the oxytocin. So he becomes oxytocin junkie. That's another reason why he does it.
Yeah.
And just like heroin junkie, but oxytocin.
Yeah.
And I pet him. And we have understanding.
Yeah.
See, that's the difference. Where rather than coming to me because I have cookie.
Yeah. I virtually see, I can't say no one because that's not good to say no one, but
What?
the petting, like as far as dog training on YouTube, it's just like, it's like almost non-existent. As
Well,
far
I remember,
The food bag.
when I was like really young in Czech,
yeah.
and people say, oh, dog listens to me because he want to please me. And he would say, well, that's bullshit, right? But it's not,
Yeah.
Because he knows if he pleases me, I pleases him with petting and he gets the oxytocin rush,
Yeah.
And so when he pulls, like when we do in the class, we heal the dogs, right? And and the dog, he was with you with a bunch of other dogs.
You're going in circle.
And we go in circle, clockwise, counterclockwise, go in the hub and all that. And the dog look at you and say, pet the dog.
Yeah, it's a huge.
Because when he looks at you, he's saying, Dad, you're my leader.
Yeah.
You know, am I doing good? Looking for approval.
Yeah.
And to whom the dog is looking for approval? To his leader.
Yeah.
He's not gonna look at you, you know, or he can look at you because you have Cookie, right?
Yeah.
Right? So, but if you don't have Cookie, he doesn't give a damn. He knows you don't have a Cookie.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know.
That's one of the biggest things I learned from Hans is paying attention to the dog looking at you, and you got to reward a dog with the pet.
Well, it boils down to what's real training and fake training. I call it fake training. It upsets people because it's kind of derogatory, but I call spade, right? Yeah. And so if dog can look at you, and he looks at me, so it's good. No.
Yeah.
You gotta ask, why is he looking at me? Is he looking at me because I give him a toy or cookie?
Yeah.
Or is he looking at me because he want approval from me?
Yeah. It's like the personal.
I personally want the dog to look at me because he's gonna get approval. It's for approval.
Yeah. Not to get off tangent, but it's kind of similar with the personal protection training. What is the dog targeting, right? Kind of similar concept upon that too.
Yeah.
We're not gonna get into that.
So, and when we're starting to train, and again, if you buy the video, it explains how it's done.
Yeah.
But there's exercises when you go and you turn and go the other way, right? Mm-hmm. And the dog keeps going, doesn't pay attention. Well, hey, that's your problem, man.
Yeah.
He gets corrected. He gets jerked.
Yeah.
Oh, Hans and yank and crank method.
Yeah.
You know, but they really learn literally within
very fast.
2 to 5 repetitions not to get jerked, and they watch you and they get pissed off sometimes. You make a turn and they start barking at you. Why are you turning again?
I know.
You know?
Turn.
It's funny.
Turn.
Yeah.
That's my female does that. Rah, 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 rah.
Yeah, they're bitching. You know? But then when they do it, you pet them and they love it and they love you for it. Yeah. Why? Because dog has to have a leader or they will turn into one. So I want the dog to be recognizing me as a leader and work for me because of that, and not because I have a cookie in my pocket.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So when I'm walking, and I don't want people come and start doing stuff just to solve the problem. I want them to do all the training so that through all that training, they build the relationship with their dog. They're not solving problems. They're building a relationship. And if you have a proper relationship with the dog, the problems will go away. But why? Because you communicate to the dog, don't do it or do it. And they understand.
Yeah, but the big one here is that, as people, the people that are trying to humanize the dog, right? This is where the problem is. They think that by doing that you're hurting the dog and all these things. I'm just saying that's a big division.
Yeah, I'm cruel.
You know that.
Man.
I don't have to explain
cruel.
it.
Just tell it to me in my face that I'm cruel to my dog.
That's one of the big things that
I'll be cruel to you.
Any of these great dog books write about is do not humanize the dog.
Yeah. But, if you are old lady and you don't have time, energy, and have arthritis, and you cannot go through all the training and you really want to stop that dog pulling and you don't care about anything else, just put a choker or pinch collar, just walk and abruptly turn and go the other way.
Yeah.
Or tie the dog to your waist and just keep it there for 2, 3, 8 hours a day. And where you go, then the dog goes and they stop pulling. They start pulling. They stop pulling.
Stop pulling,
Yeah. Because they otherwise you step on them or go the other way. So most comfortable place for them is to be on your left side.
Yeah.
And
I'm just saying that you're as a dog trainer, you're fighting human psychology too.
Yeah.
You're fighting the human psychology.
Yeah. But
not the dog.
Okay, hold on. Let's go back to this. But that's a shortcut, guys. I can teach you, people used to bring me dog. I said, he's pulling. And I said, give me the leash. Yeah. And I stopped the dog from pulling literally within 15, 20 seconds.
Yeah. They're like, oh, it's amazing.
I said, yeah, well, but that's not what I want from you. I want from you to build a relationship through the training And the dog will not pull. And if he does, you just say, hey, heel. And dog says, oh, okay. Right? Or he chews on corner of the couch. Hey, stop it. No. Right? And dog stops.
Yeah.
Not because you have cookie, but because you come. And they remember it better too.
Yeah.
See, my dad doesn't want me to chew on the couch.
It's a deeper, it's an actual relationship.
Yeah. No. So, but if you just want to stop them from pulling, it's easy. Put a choker or pinch and just walk and turn around abruptly and go the other way. And if the dog doesn't follow, give him a correction. You read 2-3 times and the dog will be right there. Look at you, you pet him, and you're done.
Yeah.
I can stop dog pulling in literally, for me, stop pulling within 15-20 seconds and then make it permanent within 5 minutes of doing this. And we're done. Now, people who have the problem, it may take a little longer because the dog already decide, hey, my owner is a pushover, so I'm the leader, and now you got to convince the dog, well, actually, it's me who is the leader, right? Yeah. And that's really hard because
you already established.
Because we already established the relationship through the first opinion, right? Yeah. And impression. And as Carnegie used to say, you can only make one first impression.
Yeah.
And then if you want to reverse it, it's very hard, because the path through the brain is already there. I am the leader, he's the follower, and it's there.
Yeah.
And longer the path is there, longer you let it go that way, the stronger the connection is. Right? So if you have a 5-year-old dog who thinks he's leader and you have that dog for those 5 years, you're going to have a hell of a time to convince him you're a leader, but that's your best bet.
Yeah.
So you still got to try.
Yeah, it's still the only bet that you can.
Yeah. The best is just to start the dog that way.
Yeah.
Right away. Hey, I'm the boss.
Yeah.
And you know what? Then you run into people who are dog trainers and they train with cookie and treats, and they're in leadership position.
Yeah.
And they say, you see, I'm doing cookies and I'm in leadership position. The reason they are in leadership position because their personality.
Yeah.
We are establishing the leadership position here with what I'm saying through the obedience.
Yeah.
But you can also establish leadership position just by being the dog and have a leadership personality, and the dog picks up on it.
Yeah, they know.
You saw those Turkish sheep herders and Asia Minor.
They don't mess around.
They don't go to PetSmart or establishing leadership position. They just live with the dog.
Yeah, it's a hard life.
All day long, every day, every hour.
Yeah.
Every minute, every second.
But everybody knows their position in the pack.
Right.
Like there's just no messing around.
Right. So you don't have to do all these exercises.
If you enjoyed this content so far, please subscribe to our channel. Also, Hans has a podcast channel called Dog Training for Life. Check that out so you can listen to the audio version.
If you have a strong personality, but the Western civilization is getting weaker and weaker, and dogs like German Shepherds, they were bred by German Rittmeister, which I guess that would be captain. This not Nazi. He hated Nazis actually. Stefanitz did, but he was a German military, Prussian.
Was in war. Like
so. What kind of person do you think he was? He was a tough bastard.
Yeah.
A dog sense that.
Yeah.
But these days we gotta do the obedience to establish leadership position because people don't have it in them anymore. So we gotta kind of teach them, at least in the relationship with the dog too.
That's what I'm saying. You're fighting it's also the society. That's
that's what I'm saying. I like to say it's a pussified society these days.
Yeah. And when we started the podcast, I knew that Hans's teaching is kind of like a salmon, going against the current. Because of society, but
it's more like Don Quixote fighting windmills, man. Salmon can make it through the stream.
Yeah.
I feel like Don Quixote, man. Sancho Panza.
Yeah.
And he cannot stop those windmills. And I feel like the Don Quixote, I cannot stop.
But as you said, pendulum swing. It does change the swinging.
But they're ruining the breeds. And,
all the breeds.
Yeah, I should make podcasts on how people ruin breeds. That would be a good one,
There you go.
actually. You know.
That's a good one, yeah. Yeah.
All right, well, that's about it. So remember, if you're like old lady, you know, and don't have the wherewithal and energy for you to stop the dog from pulling, I mean, and I mean not stop it, go through all the training. You can just stop the dog from pulling by walking, and you go this way, and when the dog, you stop, and when the dog keeps going, you turn and go the other way and pop him and say, you know, say no and pop.
Yeah.
And after a while, the dog starts watching which way you go, and the dog starts saying, I gotta watch that old biddy. She keeps changing directions all the time.
Yeah.
So, and you
Pay
start heading
attention.
next to him, and they do, you pet them. That's all it's to it. The only thing is you gotta give the correction hard enough. And that's when you run into these fur babies and animal rights activists who are gonna tell you that you're cruel.
Yeah.
You know, but if the nature makes it work and it allows it to work, you go to the point where the threshold, when it starts working, that's when you stay, and the dog will tell you where the correction is, by starting to do it, and you don't go past that. Cruel. You know, I always ask people. You know, they say, oh, that's cruel. I said, give me definition of cruelty.
Cruel.
And they go and Google some crap. Or wait, I'll give you definition of cruelty in training. Is if you are correcting the dog beyond the point you need to go in order to solicit from the dog a response, that's cruel. Right? So, you know, some dog, you know, like you once corrected Yarina, but she needed it.
Yeah, she was out of control.
Right? And you kept doing, and you have pain threshold here, and you were doing correction here, it didn't work.
Yeah.
And then you went to the pain threshold, and start working.
Yeah.
One time.
Once. That's it.
That's it.
Yep.
So you can give the dog 100 wishy-washy correction which wouldn't correct a butterfly or a hummingbird, and wear a raw spot on the dog's neck.
Yeah.
Right? And not to be cruel, or you can give him a good one snappy correction. Dog listens, you praise him, and he says, oh, he's a leader, I better pay attention to him. And for the rest of your life, you're fixed.
Yeah.
You know, oh, Hans is old school, don't listen to him. Right, well, hey, what was the name of the Dead Poet Society, or said the Matt Damon or whatever? Some guy says, well, I don't agree with that. And Matt Damon, I think it was Matt Damon, he said, how is it working for you?
Yeah.
So, if it's working for you, fine.
Yeah.
You know? Start walking with cookies around the dogs, and just make sure you have one in your pocket all the time, and everything is going to be peachy.
Well, you're not against, but you're as you said, you're a minimalist, and you want least amount of filter between you and the dog. That's kind of what it is, right?
Well, you know, I'm not against in-drive training. Don't take me wrong, but I'm. You know, I always talk about succession, meaning what kind of training comes first and what comes second.
Yeah. Right.
Like when I'm training dog protection, surf protection, I can't come at the dog with a stick hard right away. You got to start building it up slowly, right? Yeah. So I, in order, if you wanna have a demo dog or sport dog, you do the out of drive only after you did. I mean the in drive. Okay, I'll say it again so it's no confusion. You do the out of drive first, and then. When you establish leadership position, relationship with the dog, then you can pull up cookie and start doing that in order for the dog to look pretty for points, okay, for the sport or for demo or whatever. Yeah. I enjoy to look at dog prancing around and doing good stuff. But remember, you always gotta first establish leadership position through the out of drive. And only then you can start using cookies. Where people tend to do it the other way around. Yeah. And once you start using cookies, remember, you can make only one first impression. Yeah. So first impression should be, I'm the leader, he is the leader, the dog thinks. That's a first impression. Yeah. Or the way I train. Or you can give cookies and then the dog says, oh, if I put my ass on the ground, I'll get cookie. No relationship building, no leadership, no nothing. Yeah. Cookie. You know, I I actually keep saying, people don't realize it, but when they train in drive training, the dog is training them. Because the dog in his head thinks, if I put my ass on the ground, I'll get cookie.
Yeah.
So they sit and they get cookie. So they think they training. It's like the pest dispenser. If I push, I get cookie.
Yeah. Well, funny because my wife usually feeds the dogs, and I joke with her, "You're the best dog trainer in the world." And Kai, the boy is nuts with food, and he'll do anything. He does everything without. She doesn't say anything. He sits. He does everything just to get the food. She doesn't say anything. Yeah. So.
Yeah, that's funny when you see. I've seen that a lot.
Yeah. I'll do anything.
I sit down, stay, spin around, whatever, roll over.
I'll do all the tricks in the book. All right.
Well, I hope it makes sense, guys. I'm trying to make it fun.
Yeah.
Yeah,
it has to be.
But come in my class, and it's gonna be.
I'm still getting psychological help. Just to let you guys know. After 4 years, I'm doing pretty good.
Nightmares.
4 years.
Cold sweats, waking, screaming out middle of the night.
Doing pretty good after 4 years of therapy.
You gotta be able to work the dog when you're under stress.
Yeah. No, it's good. Yeah.
And people say, well, I don't want to come. Hans is too hard on me. Well, when you're doing protection, training protection, and
it's not game.
What do you think? The guy who pulls his knife on you or want to hurt you, that's going to be what I'm telling. What stress I'm putting on you? It's nothing compared to that. So you better be. Anyway,
that's why it's Alpine Canine real, like realistic.
Yeah, it's real shit.
That's right. All right, guys. Thank you for watching. Please visit alpinecaninreal.com for instructional videos.
How do you spell real?
Real, like realistic, not
REAL.
Yes, not fishing reel, not EE. So visit alpinecaninreal.com for the instructional videos. If you're looking for a trained...
You got to enunciate, man.
Real.
You got to, people say, what did he say? What did he say?
No, that's you.
Well, yeah, because I'm half deaf. But you got to say, it's Alpine numeral 9, real, REAL.
All right, so Hans is going to do the outro every time now.
No, you do well. It's just don't try to rush through it.
Okay, so we'll put it up, huge bold letters too, so you'll see it.
Well, it's in the corner there on the screen.
It's everywhere. You can't miss it.
That bright green. I don't know where it is.
Plus, you're on the channel. It says.
Well, you never know, man.
Oh.
Never underestimate, how people can screw up.
So if you're looking for a puppy or a trained adult dog, contact Hans. The dogs come in from the Czech Republic. He'll fill you in all about the dogs. They're the real deal. I have a female from the Czech Republic, and she's great. So that's it. Please share and subscribe. It really helps the channel, and we'll see you guys next time.
Ahoy.
So Hans has a membership program. We just started this not long ago, depending on when you're obviously watching the video. It involves, the link is down below this video. We have a whole dedicated page to it. Also, I'm going to tell you about it, but you can go to alpinecaninreal.com and you will see it says join membership right there. There's a button right there.
It's a Facebook.
Yeah, it's a private. Yep,
private.
I'm gonna
membership. Thing.
Yeah. So what it is, it's if the videos are great, and Hans has some great videos, but ultimately you need help with your dog, right? You have behavior modification issues, you have obedience issues, and this private Facebook group is where Hans personally helps you. The great thing here is that it's a library of things as the membership builds, as the people are asking questions. So you will also see other people's issues. So it's a wonderful hub of knowledge. You can upload the video of the issue, which is the big one, because Hans, you're going blind a lot of time. People telling you type, but video is the best way, correct? Yeah. So you have that opportunity inside this private Facebook group to upload your issue, and Hans will be there to help.
Yeah, and it's an issue about the obedience itself, because you know, when I started training dogs and all that, I did it from books and stuff. Nobody ever told me anything. I learned a lot on my own, and then I got some input from other people. But you know, you can read something or listen to something and still do it wrong.
Yeah.
You need, unless you do it 100 times and they say, oh yeah, I forgot this and I forgot that. Where if you record your session and send me, download it, let's say on YouTube and put it as a link,
Whichever way. Yeah.
and I look at it, I can immediately tell you what you're doing wrong,
Yeah.
right? And what you should do better and what you do good and what you should do next.
Yeah.
Okay. And that's what the group is all about. And there's going to be there are, or it's already active. There are two ways to do it. One is the virtual hunts, and we're still expanding on the virtual hunts.
It's an artificial intelligence. I was going to.
Yeah, it's artificial intelligence where you can ask questions 24/7, and you will get an answer, and you won't get a generic answer which was collected by AI from internet. You get mine answer, because Gabor inserts my articles and my videos and my posts into the memory of the AI, and the AI reaches into their memory to answer your questions. And there's literally thousands of topics I wrote about, and even so it's active, we keep adding on it, you know, continuously, and eventually it's going to be like a big book of what I teach and my philosophy. So, you know, book, you have everything there, but this will be just like an encyclopedia, like a book. You want to look at
you ask your problem.
Yeah, you ask about, you know, Russian Revolution, right? So you go to Russian Revolution.
You won't have that in there, but
okay. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You know, or you want to see how to split atoms, so you go and look up split atom. In the encyclopedia, of course, we are not talking about stuff like that, you know, but maybe we will one day. So,
and
so that's the virtual hunts, what I call it, the artificial intelligence answers. And the beauty of it is that you don't have to worry about calling me at 2:00 at night, right? You can tap into it anytime, 24/7.
Yeah.
And then if you don't get the answer, or you can try to reformulate it, right? And if still don't get an answer, then you can ask me within the timeline, right?
Yeah.
And I will answer it. I'll go there every day and I see what somebody is asking, and I will answer a question personally. Okay.
Yeah. And another neat feature of the AI is if we have a video, let's say it's 30 minutes long, and you ask the question, but your answer lies like 10 minutes and 30 seconds into the video, well, it'll start the video at that 10 minutes and 30 seconds where the answer is to your question. Now that's powerful, because we have a lot of video in the course, and that's a huge